Right. So then I decided to use the MITK plugin generator here, and then I went to download it here, right? And that takes me to this guy which says you can download the exe here. Okay. Sorry, you can download the exe from here. So I went ahead and I downloaded this guy, which was a mistake because this is way back in 2012. So when I did this, and then I tried to build MITK, it required me to have Qt 4.x while I was having Qt, and then I had read here that I need Qt 5.x or something, so I was confused what's going on. But of course, when this was given out, I think Qt was in the 4.x versions. So and then I could also download the source from here and then build it myself, but that didn't work. But even if it would have worked, it would have given me just this basically, because this is also 1.4, so it would have given me the binary, which wouldn't have worked. So then what I had to do was I could go to the MITK GitHub account, and this is the latest code, right? So this is last update, last commit is 6 days ago, right? So I could download this guy, and then here inside applications, there's this plugin generator source code which I could build, which I did. And then what happened is I ran into some errors which were there because the latest code is not stable. It has some you know uh, it is not stable. It's not a release version, so I should not really have used the latest code. What I should have used was the latest stable code, which is, if you go here, so this is the one where I was led from the download, right? Well, so this is the plugin generator, but if I just go up on this, this is the release, the MITK release, and this is a stable release, right? So I could go to archive 2016 20, and then I could download this. Okay, and when I download this, I would get all of these files and folders, except that they would be um, of this stable release, right? So then I did that. So I closed these guys. I did that, and then I had them in a folder. Let's see if I still have them. Yeah, so I got these guys, right? And then what I did was I said, right, I went to CMake. Oops. And I put here this folder, the plugin generator, and I put here some folder that I created where I want the binaries of the plugin generator. Okay, and then I configure and then I generate. But before, so when I configure, I'm not doing it again because I've already done it. When I configure, it will not be able to find these Qt things as yet. So what I will have to do for that would be, I would have to go to yeah, I'd have to go to computer properties, advanced system settings, environment variables, this path variable, and edit that. And I would have to enter this this path here, the path to the bin of Qt installed, or the Qt installation, right? So I would have to do that. Right, and then when I configure, it will be able to find whatever it needs to find, and then I generate, and then it will generate the uh, yeah, the solution file for this. Okay, so I had to do that, and then when I do this, this will be populated, and I will have this solution file, right? So I have to open this in whatever. So I open it in Visual Studio 2015, and then I right click this, I build this, it builds successfully. Okay, and when it builds successfully, it creates here this MITK plugin generator.exe, right? And once I have that, what I can do is, so this is Yeah, I downloaded this. And yeah, see prerequisites: preparing your source directory, you the plugin generator. uh, okay, so yeah, using the plugin generator I now have to prepare the source directory for the new MITK project, okay, which is mentioned here, which create, so I can create a new MITK project using the plugin generator using this command line command. Okay, so once I have this, I go to the command window, the command prompt, and bring myself to this path, and then write this guy down, and then it generates the source code for a new MITK project, which I called MITK second build because the first build had failed, but I should have called MITK source or something, new project source or something. So this yeah, and then this has certain things, right? And then what I have to do is I have to again go to CMake, and I have to, okay, now this time second build as the source, and then create another folder as the where I want the binaries, and then configure and then generate. So this just works. Okay, okay, now one of the important things that I have to do is when I click on configure here, it asks me, okay, let me just I don't want to mess with these guys, so let me just create another folder here called well, M1, and another folder here called M2. And now if I go to CMake, then I say, you know what, I want my sources are in M1 and I want the binaries to be in M2. And when I configure, it asks me specify the generator for this project, and by default it was selected to 2015. Okay, and that led to problems afterwards, so I then had to, so this is quite tedious because you don't know what's going on, and then you do it, and then you have to build MITK, which takes like an hour, and only then you have some errors, then you look for those solutions, and then yeah, so it's a tedious process. But anyway, then I had to select this 2013 guy, and without the x64, okay, this 2013 guy, and finish, and then I have to configure using that. Okay, so I just delete these two guys, right? So we've talked about, yeah, how I came to know that I had to do this 2015-2013 change was because I came across this error. Okay, so it said not 1600 and 1700, but uh, yeah, 1600 and 1700 correspond to VS 2010 and 2012, but I had 1800 and 1900, which corresponds to VS 2013 and 2015, and this error, right? And for that I had to change that while configuring it in CMake, right? So now I close these guys. So now I've talked about this as well. Um, yeah. Uh, One more thing is I talked about adding the Qt bin path to the Qt bin path to the path variable, and I have to be careful here because in Qt I could either add this path, so there's a bin here, I could add this path, or I could add this path. Okay, so what I have to do is if I use the Qt creator to build it, then I have to add this path. But if I use Visual Studio, then I have to add this path. So first I had included that path, and still it couldn't find the DLLs. Well, the DLLs were there, so that was strange, but I had to add this one. Okay, so that's another note. And yeah, once I do this, yeah, I think I've talked about all the nitty-gritties now. So once I do this, I create yeah, the source code for the new project, and then that is for me it is, oh, there's just one more thing that I have to talk about. So yeah, then it is here the source code. Then I go to CMake, I give that as the source folder, and I give this as the binary